Bandwidth for First Updates Now is supported by AndyMark. Are you competition ready? Go to andymark.com and keep your team inspired. And by the Blue Alliance. Keep up to date on all live and archived First Robotics events and team stats at thebluealliance.com. First Updates Now is brought to you by viewers like you. Fun relies on the generous support of our fans in order to continue to keep creating content. Please consider donating, giving bits, or subscribing. Subscribe for a few bucks a month or for free through Twitch Prime. And don't forget that our subscribers get 5x chance to win on all giveaways.
Hello all and welcome to the second region recap show for First Updates Now, FRC Down Under. Here today we have JC, Jessa and myself. Today we have an epic show for you guys with an overview of the 2 Australian competitions and an overview of the Australian teams attending First Championships here in Houston, as well as looking at the Australian top 5 teams. So let's dive right into it. JC, at the 2 Australian regionals we saw a large amount of diversity in terms of robots and strategies. How do you think this affected the qualification matches at both regionals?
Well, like always, here in Australia, we had a vast array of robot types, from ramps to tailgates, with launchers, droppers, and pushers. There's really no shortage of variety here down under. The quals went on, and we saw a ton of different strategies, including the game for the opponent's switch, which was a bit out of left field over here, as we made it further and further through the days. Even though the winner was determined by the scale in 3 out of 4 matches from the Blue Alliance stats, the switches, Vault, and Endgame still proved to be able to turn the tides, and especially in hard-to-win matches where the opponent only had a scale bot and a couple of Vault bots. You could easily turn the tide by just taking their switch. But come playoffs, if you didn't have a scale bot, you've kind of already lost, unless you have some kind of really good climbing mechanism. Jezza, what do you reckon?
Yes, as you say, like we had all different kind of robots, right? So I can sit here like Blacktown Girls and the Tinkerers. A good example is like just Vault dedicated bots. Also, I can say like good loop climbers like Complete Chaos and Barker. And scale bots, we have so many good scale bots. Kudos to like Qualified and Hastings Heroes, because like being a rookie and bringing a solid like scale bots is very good for the competition. Barker came up with like a FTC bot, so I don't know in what class we can put then. And 3132 was kind of sad and to watch them like struggling during all the competitions to try to fix their intake, because if you look to the robot, you see they have a great strategy. They can like literally sidekick cubes from their elevator arm. So they had that problem with the intake that took so much time to fix, and I hope they can fix for championship.
All right. So we saw a huge difference compared to last year in terms of up-and-coming alliances. I know personally I was surprised about how good some of these teams are getting. But what I was really surprised about was 31-32's strategy. During gameplay, it didn't seem all too clear, which unlike previous seasons, is a big change. I'm looking back at that now, and some of those strategies in early qualification matches really cost them their usual rank in the top 8, usually first to 4. Now, if we pull off one of their first matches, qualification number 6, I don't think we have it. You can see critical points in the game where they are not performing to their usual ability. Now, this may something to do with the breakages on their intake mechanism and their switch and scale climbing mechanism. But we all do have robot issues from time to time and robot breakings. But I think it's very unlike Thunder Down Under to have performed at this level. JC, what do you think?
Well, this is something that we're seeing a lot more commonly now that Australia is running with this back-to-back regional thing since 2017. A lot of teams will attend both regionals, and because of this, because they're back-to-back, they kind of have 2 shots at being able to attend the Almighty Championship ×2. And we see this a whole lot more. Teams will use their first regional to kind of hone their strategies, test out these high-risk mechanisms, and maybe default to a lower risk but less effective backup. In the case of 31-32, the first regional was met with a lot of intake mechanical issues and also on their climber a little bit. But by the second event, they were up and running almost to their full ability, getting that sweet tailgate double climb. It's almost certain that some pre-champs development is going to make TDU a tough contender in their division, among other teams like Sydney's 4613 Barker Redbacks, and 5985 Project B, as well as Perth Zone 5663 Ground Control, who I'm not at all biased towards. All of which are very respectable scale-focused spots in their own rights. However, we also have rookie teams like Adelaide's 6996 Qualified and Melbourne's 7128 Accelerate, which I love their name, by the way, are also taking to the world stage to bring a bit of outback flavour to the Houston Championship. Australia is looking like a tough nation to beat, and we're going to give it a fair shake of that sauce bottle for sure. In fact, if you stay around until a little bit later, we're actually going to be diving a bit more into the stats and strats behind what we're going to see in Houston now that the preliminary divisions have been released. Is this the year that we finally see an Australian team on Einstein? Maybe a full alliance of them? A feat that hasn't happened since 2015? We'll find out.
Now,
what do you reckon?
So yeah, I don't think about like a full Australian alliance on Einstein because this is mathematically almost impossible. But we have a better shot this year than last year for sure. Also, like talking about qualified, it's just like amazing how this team like made such a solid robot and went like such a deep run in the competition, and see they actually really motivated to do it. And so let's talk about championship now, or you guys want to keep talking about the regionals?
Championship sounds like a good idea. So we saw the divisions come out yesterday, I think it was, for me, with 3 Australian teams on Newton ground: 56-63, 65-08, and 65-10. No, sorry, 4, I lied. And 71-28, Accelerate. We have Blacktown Girls on Roebling, PB on Roebling, Qualified on Roebling. TDU is on Carver, Barker Redbacks on Galileo, IC on Turing, and 60-50 Leo Wild Bush Bots on Hopper. Do you reckon we could have an Australian Einstein Alliance from Newton at all, Jessa?
No way. so definitely no way. Because analyzing Newton, we have like ground control, right? A fast elevator arm, so very quick in the field, so can do like both switch, vault very quickly, and also do scale pretty well. So I think this team will be in eliminations. Hessian Heroes has a good chance to be in eliminations. They need to increase their speed and make like their autonomous like more solid. Because I don't think what we did in Australia would not cut for championship. So we all need to play better. And Pinball Pride is just like, I think Pinball Pride is the only team that's qualifying by waitlist, but this team definitely deserved to be. It was like definitely top 5 in South Pacific, and they have a good like kicker. So the only problem they have will be they need to increase the speed the arms go up and down. But apart from that, they have a solid autonomous, like unhappily is just 1 cube in switch, 1 cube in scale. But their kicker is very reliable. Their take is good. So I think they have some chance to go to eliminations. And then XLR8, 7128. This team won, if I remember well, so they're cross with us.
Nope.
No?
South Pacific.
South Pacific. Good. Okay, so they're good vault. They're good vault bot, but I don't think that we can make an alliance out of it. So I think all these teams need to have fun because you guys are in an amazing division. You have like 118, you have like Citrus Circuit, so a lot of matches that you remember forever. But if I can bet, I would say that like ground control would be in eliminations and Hessian Heroes and Pinball running to try one spot at eliminations.
So if we look at the Australian top 5 teams, we start that list with 46-13, then 59-85, 31-32, 55-84, and 62-04. They are very strong teams, all of them. Jesse, do you think any other team deserve to be on that list at all?
Well, it kind of depends. One of the teams that you did mention was Team 6024, Team R Factor from India. They did really well.
62-24, sorry.
62-24. Okay. I'd like to see some more up on that list. I think limiting it to top 5 is kind of selling Australia a little bit short. We have a lot of really good teams this year. I think we have a solid chance at making it through to the division eliminations. Maybe even, Einstein. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, I think I think like these rankings are based on like people voting, right? So the best way to have a better ranking is like more people needs to vote. So that's that very simple math, right? I don't see, for example, any reason for 31-32 to be in the top 5. They literally compete 2 regionals. They had problems in both regions. Actually, in California, they also had problems. So they never actually put a competitive robot in the field in any of the matches I watched. But just to be clear, like for other side, once they have intake working, they have one of the best robots because apart from the intake, everything works properly. Mm-hmm. But teams like 5663 should be in their list and many others. So, but I think it's fair. Do you guys want to talk about Roebling division?
Yeah. Roebling. Yeah, sure.
Let's go.
So in Roebling you have Blacktown Grows and Project Bucephalus and also Qualified, right? This is an interesting division for Australian teams because first, if you don't know, Blacktown Grows is just the best team in the world. They cannot be the best in the field, but they're the loudest team. And I think every single Australian team would cheer for them wherever they go. So it's really good to see this team. Yeah, this team is started at the same year as Barker started, and it never made 2 eliminations before. And when they did, they won the competition like Southern Cross, and they actually went to semifinals in South Pacific, if I remember well. So all the luck for this amazing project like from Blacktown Girls. Project Bucephalus, in my opinion, is one of the best teams to complement your alliance. The reason why is because even like Cheesy Poofs, they don't have an arm high enough like Bucephalus has. So if after like 1 minute in the match, you need a robot that can be stacking more cubes than normal. In Championship, I think this will be very important. And then Bucephalus can go that step above other robots. I actually don't know many robots in the world right now that can go as high as Bucephalus can. And then Qualified, I think Bucephalus will definitely be in the eliminations in my point of view. And Qualify has a great chance to do it. They're just amazing rookies. They did a very solid robot. Managed to, I think they even can climb. They can put in the scale quickly and switch. So I think they have a good shot to go to eliminations. And I'm trusting an autonomous from Bucephalus to guarantee them there.
Certainly. Let's take a look at Chairman's. Riley, what have we learned from Chairman's and Engineering Inspiration and all those other fantastic awards from our 2 events?
Yeah, so looking back at the Chairman's Awards, I think it's fairly safe to say that especially at the Australian events, not many people were expecting 5584 or 6024 to take out RCA. I know it's quite unusual for 4613 to not win one, but that could also have to do with the fact that they didn't compete in as many events. Also, the elimination of 3132 in the race to win Chairman's really helped a lot of teams recognize their potential. I mean, R Factor is an incredible team from India, and the challenges they had to face in helping their team and the community is tremendous. And I see Robotics 5584, only 4 years old, and they are inspiring so many students. So congrats to those 2 teams. It's definitely well deserved. Jesse, I'm not sure about you, but I'm certainly excited to see how these 2 teams prosper.
Of course, it's always fantastic to see more teams getting recognized for their hard work, especially down here in Australia, where keeping a competitive team up and running is very, very difficult, and which we also see a lot in other nations who aren't quite as deep-rooted in first yet. And it's for sure well-deserved. R Factor not only took home that sweet, sweet blue ribbon medal for Chairman's, but also the Woody Flowers Finalist Award with their mentor, Nilesh Shah, and the Safety Award as well. If there was a Veteran All-Star Award, I'm pretty sure that they'd have it as well. Looking at the South Pacific Regional, we see not 1, but 2 cases of the Klingling, where teams earn 2 medals, with 5584 IC Robotics taking home the Chairman's Award and the Finalist Award, and 5663 Ground Control, who I'm not biased towards at all, again, taking the Winners and Engineering Inspiration Award, generating a wildcard in the process, being awarded to Team 6050, the Wee-Waa Bushbots.
Post-regionals, I'm really interested to see how these teams advancing to the championships will go. We have a huge range of Australian teams, 60-50, 31-32, 48-02, 46-13, 59-85, 55-84, 71-28, 56-63, 69-96, 65-08, and 65-10. I may have missed a few, and I'm sorry. These teams are quite strong, and they can definitely put up a fight against a lot of other teams coming to Houston. Jessa, what do you think about this idea?
As we were talking before, yeah. So I think we see Australian teams in eliminations and divisions. It would be very hard to see them going to Einstein because it's not easy. But we can definitely keep talking about them. So we can see here like Thunder the Wonders at Carver division, which in my opinion, Thunder the Wonder needs to fix their intake and then manage to get all their autonomous runs set up for this new system. Again, it's sad to see this team struggling the entire season. The problem for our Australian team is like you have back-to-back events. So if you had a problem the first event, you keep this problem for the second event. And they also had a trip to California right next to it. So like it's hard to keep a team here in Australia working the robot and not even manage to actually put in action in the next event. So now that they had a break between the last regional and championship, I believe they have a fair chance to fix all their problems. And if they do this, yes, they have a shot at Carver. If they don't do this, then next year is just like work again and make sure you don't run out of time to build a robot. And the task will not be easy, but what do you think about Carver?
Carver? So Carver's kind of interesting. We don't have a large sample size to go off, but in terms of average ranking score and average things like the average auto, they're very much in line, the Australian and the non-Australian teams. The parts where Australia really starts to pull forward are in the climbing section. 3132's double climb is no doubt really, really good with that back. I believe it's made of carbon fiber tailgate ramp, which flops down at the end of the match. It wasn't in place for most of the first event, but in the second event, it certainly popped into place, and you can see it demonstrated in their match scores. And we'll go through a bit more of the analysis later. Second? Wow. Taking a look at the other kind of divisions as well, we see they're a little bit all over the place. Some divisions have a lot more Australian teams than others, such as Newton, which has 4, compared to Carver, Galileo, Hopper, and Turing, all of which only have 1, and Roebling coming in at a nice second with 3 teams. How do you think these divisions are going to stack up with this odd concentration of Australian teams in certain places rather than others?
It's definitely odd to have so many Australian teams in one division and not many in others. I would have thought first would spread them out evenly amongst the divisions, but obviously not. I'm sure that all the teams in those divisions will do well, considering their track record. But what I'm really interested to see is Turing, division 5584, I think. I see Robotics. Because they had a really impressive robot at the second regional and the first. And I'm interested to see if they will make it to playoffs, because I think they deserve that. They work so hard. I think the robot is strong. And I think that they're incredibly strategic.
Yeah, for certain. They didn't take home that win for nothing.
Yeah, what I can say for SC Robotics, first, is a shame that they didn't win the competition because you guys won, right? But they definitely deserve it, right? This team has been working from first, like I think it's the 5th year now. So, and they always do a good bot. And this year they managed to get first seed in the regional, and they picked us Barker Redbacks, and then went to the finals. We had a lot of problems, and then we ended up being beaten by you guys. But the best thing, what I want to say about them is after the competition ended, they were likely saying that, we're not going to Houston because the robot is not competitive. And I just said to them, you're crazy. Because they did the best robot they ever built. And these robots can be very, very used for a championship. So I definitely think they will be in finals, in elimination, in a division, and they definitely have a deep run there. Because one, they are solid, their autonomous is good. They can even do 2 cubes in the scale, which is in Barker's division right now is kind of rare. And they also climb. They have a double climb. So I think first they did right to go to the championship, and now they just need to enjoy, relax, and do their best.
And
how
let's
do
not
you
forget
think that?
they also...
Sorry. How do you think the double climb will stack up against all the others, all the other robots in that division?
I think the double climb is important to actually get you high in the ranking. So if you're higher in the ranking, you also, if you have a good strategy team, it will help you to get the best pick. I don't know, like depending on the division, it's not actually good to be the first pick, but the first like seed. But like if you like can stay like in the first top 4, you definitely have enough like capacity to make a good alliance.
And let's not forget, they have a real shot at also winning the awards for their division as well. Since each division does have its own small subset of awards, which are actually really, really competitive picks. It's an honor almost as great as winning 2 champs, but we'll see how we go with that. Riley, do you want to take on over to take a look at the matches, especially the playoffs?
Yeah, sure. So going back to those matches, especially the playoffs in both comps, it was no less than insane. Seeing the massive amount of strategy on that one field sent out an epic vibe. Jesse, how did you find it being a drive coach?
Being a drive coach in a competition like FRC it's kind of different than what people think about. We don't actually stay there saying like, go get the cube, put that cube there. We literally run around the 3 teams trying to get the best of the alliance. So my drivers have already a plan for the match, and they should perform as well. And until I give a new command, they will keep that choreography going. So the most important job of a coach is literally like taking care of the power-ups, make sure you're using it properly. A good example is like the Tinkerers coach, I think was the best using power-ups. They just had a robot like they're just doing the vault, but they use their power-ups so well that actually they got there very, very high in the competition. Other job we have is like make sure people understand penalties. It's kind of like crazy the way it happens. Before the match, you go to that team and you say, this is a penalty, this, and that. And then match, they do exactly what they shouldn't be doing. So what I do, I go to them and just stop what you're doing, go back to the strategy, and then we explain later why that's bad. Because like each like tech fault is 25 points. So it's like 25 seconds. So it's very important that like keep everybody on the loop for like penalties and stuff.
Yeah, the drive coaches definitely have a bigger role this year, especially with those power-ups having to make that split-second decision, because you might also be blocked out of using a power-up by the opposite alliance. Only one can be active at a time, disregarding levitate. But all that aside, let's take a little look at what the numbers are going to look like as we head to Houston.
Just to keep can you keep in the finals a bit?
In the finals, sure.
Yeah, just because like I don't think we had opportunity to talk about like in the first regional, like Raid Zero just dominated the rankings, right? If you remember well, Raid Zero is from Taipei, Taiwan. They're just amazing, like they're legends. I love that team. And then they ended up picking us and went to the finals and won the event. But in the second event, something happened, right? Barker didn't win the event, and apparently Australia lost that because everybody was like super happy when the match finished.
Australia loves an underdog. That's just how it goes, I think.
Perfect.
So it was really good to see like everybody happy. And what I can say for that match, like congratulations to you guys. I think you made an amazing alliance. Again, I see Robotics picked us, and I'm sad they didn't win because they didn't deserve. They really deserved. But you guys managed to like won against us, even against our odds, because we had like 6 points in advantage with climbs and stuff. So well done. Congratulations to you. Bucephalus 5663 and the other team
7128 Accelerate.
Yep. See you next year.
Oof. We'll come back with a vengeance, I believe.
A burning passion.
Before we wrap up, let's do a quick kind of overview at what numbers we're looking at as we go into the Houston event. So, Tyler, if you want to pull up the average ranking image, what we're taking a look at almost right now. There we go. This is a little graph, so we crunched some numbers before we started the show, and the numbers on the right-hand side of each bar graph is how many teams. So the blues are the teams who are not Australian, and the oranges are the teams who are Australian, and these are all average numbers. So for each division, we can see the average ranking score here. That is how many ranking points they get per match. And we can see in a couple of divisions, although the sample size is very small, literally the smallest you can get, 1, Turing and Galileo really pull ahead by quite a considerable margin. That's about 0.25 of a ranking point, which is about 1 extra ranking point every 4 matches. That's like facing the boss once every 4 matches. And Turing and Galileo are really pulling ahead there. I believe in Galileo, that team is yourself, Jezza, if I'm correct?
Yeah, Barker, yeah.
Yes. And in Turing, that's IC Robotics. And then in all the other divisions, we see that they are actually quite close. In Newton, where our sample size is highest, we're slightly ahead, almost on par, by about 0.01 of a ranking point. So, just something to keep an eye out for qualification matches. Diving into the next image, which is the average auto points. Once again, we see Galileo really pulling ahead as well as Turing. But something to keep in mind here is in every single division, Australian teams are outranking the non-Australian teams in terms of auto points. Now, again, our sample size is really small, but this might be something to keep an eye on. In the first event, in fact, I'm pretty sure the auto crossing rate, the amount of teams who could cross the auto line, was over 90%, and I think that carried out through to the second event. Those stats might be a bit stale, but I do remember reading them at some point. So this could be very interesting. I think Australian teams are going to not only allow the American teams to perform better, but also maybe outperform them in some cases.
In our case, I can definitely say for Barker, because autonomous are like total priority. Like even in competitions, we abdicate of we open hand of the easy switch autonomous to make sure we tweak or 3Q both sides or autonomous for championship. So we spend the entire qualification matches actually tweaking the autonomous and not getting the ranking point in some matches, because we know that at championship autonomous will be the thing that makes you win the competition.
Yeah. So definitely in terms of that first auto, that getting you a match, I also think that the end of game is a vital part, obviously, because the climb, it earns you so many more points than the auto could, unless you got an insane amount of fouls. But that end game, especially in Australia, was always so diverse, you could say. Most matches we did have the double climb, usually not though. The triple climb, the unicorn matches didn't come around very often, but when they did, they were insane. I know was it you guys 46-13 who got the triple climb one match?
The triple or the double plus the...
I thought it was a triple, but I could be wrong. So
if going ahead on climbing, just before we wrap up, which we'll do very shortly, taking a look at the average climb document as well, you can see that, much like auto, Australian teams pull ahead in almost every division except for Roebling, where we're slightly behind. And all of our averages are above 90, which is pretty considerable per event. But just something to take a look at if any super good American teams are looking at picking an Australian team. Hit us up. You can see the stats. Team. The numbers don't lie. But anyway.
Anyway, can you talk about Hopper? Because I don't think we didn't talk about the Wee-Waa Bushbots. They're a Hopper division.
Oh, yeah, they're the only Hopper team, Australian Hopper team, aren't they? I think the Wee-Waa Bushbots, they got through on a wild card, if I'm not mistaken.
They got the last spot.
The last spot. Wow. They are certainly a good team. Their arm mechanism and their gripping mechanism was a bit flimsy before playoffs, but I think that was fixed between then and championships.
Yeah, they broke their...
I think they're a very nice team. They're sorry, what was that?
They broke their arm at semifinal match number 2, so they couldn't pick up cubes during the final match.
Okay, yeah, okay. So that looking at that Wee-Waa Bushbots on TBA, Hopper division, wasn't it? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. They're up against a lot of the very high teams, like 148, and a few others from memory. I can't. There we go. It's up now. But 148 definitely has a upper hand in that division. Having a look at their previous match scores and stuff. But 60-50, I think, could be a great third pick or a great second pick. Jessa, what do you think of that?
I think the chance of them going to eliminations is very low. Not because they're a bad team or anything like that. I think that just championship would not be the case, in my opinion, championship would not be the case for just vault bots. I think you need to do, I think like there are very good scale bots that can do the vault pretty quickly. And because it's championship, you have like more teams qualified like by winning events. So I think would be the second and third pick will still be a team that can do more than just vault and switch. So I think chances are low for them to get through eliminations, but they still can do it. It's just like, let's see what they would change for championship.
For sure. Anyway, I think that just about wraps us up. So thank you to everyone who's watched. If you want more First Robotics in your life and you like what we do, all we ask is that you share the show with your teammates and friends. We love to watch the Fun Nation grow.
Just a quick, before we wrap up, like who you guys think will be the teams that have a chance to win the divisions from Australia?
I personally think it's hard to look at that at the moment, as the qualification matches haven't even started. I haven't personally seen a lot of the other teams play, but I do think it's fairly likely that 46-13 could make playoffs, maybe even Einstein.
Jassy?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It is very possible. We do have quite a strong chance this year, especially with a lot of the, I wouldn't say best, but some of the much more competitive Australian teams being split out towards their divisions. I think it opens up a lot more opportunities for us to kind of take that win instead of just kind of riding the coattails a little bit. But we'll see how we go. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm not afraid to say like Barker Redbacks has like great chances to perform well. I know because like after the South Pacific Regional Championship, we had like a full field and like training every day. But I will say that Bucephalus, I see 5663 has like a good chance to go to eliminations with Barker. And from then on, Barker, IC, and 5663, I think they will be like the contenders of an alliance. And running parallel with that is like 31-32 if they manage. If they win a division this year, will be the best like comeback in the entire FRC history, and we're hoping it can happen. So that's it.
Yeah,
That's what I have.
Definitely.
Well, we'll see how we go. So thank you to everyone for watching. You can always support the channel by liking all the various social media accounts and following the stream. Or if you'd like to subscribe or more directly support the content creation, you can do so right here on Twitch. No matter what, we are delighted to have you on board. On behalf of myself, Riley, Jezza, and our producer Tyler, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.